In a world where magic is the norm, Mash is born without magic, but has developed superhuman strength. Mash lives in the forest outside the city with his father named Burndead, and is currently performing his routine bench pressing exercise. Afterward, he gets a cream puff to snack on and appears to like the pastry a lot. He goes inside the house but breaks the door when he attempts to open it, causing his dad to almost freak out. When his dad finally cools down, he pours tea for his son using magic and then heads out to the city, but not before warning Mash not to go into the city. However, he sees an ad in the paper announcing some special limited edition cream puffs and immediately sets out for a chance to grab his. When he arrives at the city, he sees everyone using magic, even for things they can do with their own hands. He wears a hood so nobody sees his face in the town. After getting to the stand, he buys the cream puffs, but also manages to surprise the shop owner when he squeezes the coins and straightens them out again. Just as he's about to head home to complete his mission, a gust of wind removes his hood and everyone stares at him in fear and panic because they don't see a mark on his face. Back in the city, Mash wonders why people are staring at him, and he remembers his father's warning. Regardless, he believes the risk was worth it as he munches on the treats. Suddenly, he's confronted by policeman Terry, and not long after, Officer Brad arrives. Before they can ask him anything, Burndead arrives and grabs his son before dashing home, and Brad sends a bird to follow them. At home, Burndead is upset, but when he sees that Mash is remorseful, he calms down and sends him outside to repeat his training. Burndead notices a magic bird spying in the house, but before he can do anything about it, Brad and his unit crash into the house. They demand to know where Mash is and point out that all without magic must be wiped out to maintain the magical potency of the land. As they beat Burndead, he recalls how he was once a reject and was about to end his life, but found baby Mash crying. He remembers how he took him in and nurtured him from infancy. Suddenly, Mash crashes into the house and takes out some of the officers. Brad underestimates him because he doesn't have magic, but he's shocked to his bones when the boy deflects his strongest attacks with the flick of his wrist. He eventually defeats Brad with a single throw of his father's wand, and the officer offers him a deal. He tells him to enroll in the Easton Magical Academy for a chance to be the year's divine visionary, which would make society accept him. Brad desires the money and prestige that comes along with being the sponsor of the divine visionary. Mash accepts the deal as it would mean that he would no longer be hunted by the police or have to live in isolation anymore. Afterward, Brad gives him a fake mark and he enrolls in the academy with his mission to be the best magician without having any magic. At the prestigious Easton Academy, all the applicants gather in the field for the entrance exam. Only 3% of applicants are accepted, which means that they have to be extremely talented with their magic. And then there's Mash, who doesn't have a drop of magic in him and is determined to get in. Before the exam starts, Mash is seen lifting incredibly heavy weights as per usual, and you wonder how he even got them into the schoolyard. Lucci, a professor at the school, sees this and immediately gets irritated, but he calms down after concluding that Mash wouldn't get accepted anyway. He comes down and introduces himself to the applicants as their exam supervisor. Mash makes some annoying comments and Lucci resolves to fail him. The first test is underway, and when the students open their papers, the words are swarming and scattered, so Lucci reveals that he's cast a spell and they are required to neutralize it to answer the questions. Throughout the exams, Mash continuously uses his freakish physical abilities to scale through. Lucci is frustrated that he's still a contender and comes up with a plan to eliminate him. The applicants are placed in a maze with a time limit to get out. A girl named Lemon asks to team up with Mash, but it turns out to be a plot so he doesn't finish. However, he frees himself and saves her from a monster, and with a little time left, crashes through the thick walls of the maze to finish. Lucci tries to disqualify him, but Lemon confesses that the professor put her up to it, and promised her a spot if she stopped Mash from finishing the maze. Tension starts to build, so Headmaster Wahlberg intervenes and takes Mash inside for a special test. The headmaster appears to like the boy already, but explains that he can't solve all problems using brute force. Following the statement, he conjures a monster and activates a spell that transfers Burndead's soul into a doll that the monster would attack. When Mash sees that he can't beat the monster, he places his hand between the doll and the blade and turns the fight into an endurance contest, stating that the headmaster can't hold the spell forever. The old man is impressed and offers Mash a spot at the academy before apologizing for the nature of the test. Afterward, Mash meets his roommate named Finn, who tells him that to become the divine visionary, one must accumulate the most gold coins that are awarded for all-around excellence at the school. The next day, the teacher takes the student to an open field to teach them how to ride their flying brooms. A student mocks him for not being able to command his broom and challenges him to a race. Mash confidently accepts, and immediately the teacher says go. He dashes to the end of the line with lightning speed. Everyone is confused as to what they just witnessed, but Finn managed to see that Mash threw his broom forward before grabbing onto it and mounting it to ride. This feat gets the attention of a notorious student named Kayville. The guy appears to be a bully and attempts to intimidate Mash. The teacher interrupts, and Kayville asks Mash to meet him at the same spot after school, and he agrees. However, he gets occupied with baking cream puffs and forgets the arrangement. The next day, he finds that his book is destroyed, and shortly, Kayville arrives to confront him about missing their meetup. Kayville tells Mash that since his father is a high-rank member of the Magic Bureau, he can help him become the Divine Visionary. As a result, Kayville exploits Mash and sends him on several errands. Mash notices that his books keep getting destroyed and pairs up with Finn before expressing his gratitude for having such a good friend. It is soon discovered that Finn was the one destroying his books under Kayville's orders and now has a change of heart. Finn confesses everything, and Mash roughs Kayville up without hesitation. Shortly, the vice principal, Farman, who is Kayville's father's loyalist, walks in on them and threatens to make Mash the villain. Mash is already in serious trouble, but decides to beat and humiliate Farman as well for attempting to frame him. Afterward, Mash is summoned by the headmaster, who informs him that the Bureau of Magic, which is somewhat the highest authority in the land, has ordered his expulsion. However, Wahlberg sides with him, adding that he's fed up with the elites for abusing their power, so he burns the letter, ignoring the order, and advises Mash to train harder so he can become the Divine Visionary and one day become a member of the Bureau. The next day, Mash is recruited to play a game requiring him to fly a broom, but when the game starts and he says he can't fly, the students begin to boo him. The team captain, Tom, tries to motivate Mash to get up in the air, but he simply doesn't know how. His team is losing badly to the Lang dorm because they're practically down a man. Land Dorm's captain intentionally crashes into Tom while he's trying to encourage Mash, causing him to fall and break his hand. Now there are 2 men down, and the other team is extending the lead with little time left. Tom expresses his disgust for the opponent's sense of sportsmanship. With all that has gone down, Mash gets upset and goes into God mode. With a powerful leap in the air, he gets the ball and impressively stays mid-air by using rapid leg movements to maintain his position. He uses a powerful throw to earn his team their point, but it doesn't end there because the ball comes right back at him like a boomerang because of the force and trajectory. He repeats this cheat skill and uses it to surpass the opponent's score, and even goes further to set a new record. The team is awarded silver coins for their feat. Lance sees the achievement in the papers, and his hatred for Mash increases even more. The next day, Lance forces him into a duel after trapping Finn, Tom, and Lemon in a bottle. Lance is a very powerful and rare magical prodigy and will be a formidable opponent. He wagers their silver coins in a winner-takes-all duel. Mash accepts the terms, and the battle begins. Lance seems to have an upper hand in the fight as he's the top-ranked magic student in the school, but while fighting, his locket falls and reveals a picture of his sister. He's put on the spot and reveals that his sister is losing her magic, which will lead to her execution. He states that he must join the Bureau to change the rules. Mash manages to save his friends and decides to end the fight, so Lance concedes defeat and leaves. Mash and Finn are panicking about their unfinished assignment when Lance walks in and berates them for slacking with a speech. He explains how students are sorted into their respective dorms. Dorm Adler is for students with extraordinary courage, Dorm Orca is for those with great wisdom, and Dorm Lang is for the most ambitious students. Afterward, he shows them how to go about their assignment. Finn makes some progress, but Mash messes it up, causing Lance to conclude that he's pretty useless unless it's combat. Elsewhere, a powerful student in the Lang dorm orders his students to seize the coins of the other dorm students. The next day, they're instructed to slay giant scorpions in the forest to earn silver and bronze coins. An infamous student named Iron, who doesn't like Mash, gets a silver coin. Meanwhile, a girl cries for help, and a student named Dawn saves her. She uses a spell to make him fall for her, but when she tries it on Mash, it fails. She proceeds to turn Iron and Dawn against each other. As a tough fight ensues, Iron knocks Mash's cream puff out of his hands. His countenance immediately changes, and you know that's not a good sign. However, that's where today's recap ends. See you in the next one.